Hey, I'm Michael Stutz, live here in Fallbrook, and am working on a sculpture that's going to be going to Colorado State in Fort Collins. 2 horses that are for an equestrian center that are being built there. And this is what I do. I've been making public art sculptures out of mostly bronze, steel, things like that for the last 20-something years. I work out of the Big Red building on Alvarado Street in Fallbrook. Started working here actually back in 2002 and have been in and out of this particular building, but have always worked here in Fallbrook.
Are you originally from here?
No, I'm originally from Tennessee. I'm originally from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
I noticed it. I detected a bit of an accent.
Yeah, and I moved out to California in the late 80s, lived in San Francisco for about 10 years. And that was where I basically kind of developed my skills as an artist, working for display, advertising, prop building for movies, things like that. At a certain point, I had moved to New Orleans for about 3 years and worked on the Mardi Gras parades. And when I did that, I started building large figurative pieces out of cardboard, paper mache essentially. It was like this old technique they had. And then I took that experience of having made large sculptures that go on public display for the parades, and the technique that I had developed in doing that, and that's what I do now.
And you apply it to metal and for your medium.
Exactly, yeah. Do it, and I actually still do a lot of cardboard when I get a chance. The nature of doing public art is such that people want something that's going to be permanent. And every once in a while, though, I do get to do the pieces that are temporary, and that's where I was just yesterday. They reinstalled a piece that I had done in Lucca, Italy, out of cardboard, a 14-foot tall figure of a person in a hoodie. And that piece sort of stands, it's got, you know, when you do the temporary work, you can do things that are more political or topical. There's less pressure on the piece as far as how it stands in public space. People accept it more when it's something that is there for just a limited time, as opposed to
something sustainable
like this, which is bronze. And bronze is the kind of material that will last longer than our civilization. They pull bronzes out of the ocean that the Greeks made, you know. So that's the other side. So I have this very permanent way of making things, and then I have a very sort of temporary and way of putting things together. In both situations, what I focus on is the idea of expressiveness, motion, an emotional connection to the objects, and making objects that connect with what people are doing in the spaces where they go. So if somebody is going to be coming into the equestrian hospital there in Fort Collins, it's real clear they're going to be pulling a horse in a trailer. So the horses make sense there. If somebody is walking down the streets of Lucca, Italy, and turns the corner and they see San Frediano, which is this 12th century church, and they see this figure which is in a hoodie, they can take it as a contemporary migrant who, say, represents the people who are coming from North Africa to Europe to try to escape persecution. They can take it as a 12th century, you know, Augustinian monk. They can perhaps relate that it's Trayvon Martin, that it's based on the things that, as somebody who's an American, we've seen over and over again here in this country. So the idea is I try to create things that have a lot of ambiguity. Not so much in how they look, but in their context, so that the viewer really gives the work the meaning.
Oh, that's awesome. I think that's a beautiful way to put it. Now, why don't you go ahead and walk around and show me this littler version and explain, is this like your model that
Yeah,
you
so
kind of
this
use?
is- when these pieces are built,
Now, is this out of the cardboard? Or is this?
well, there's a variety of things going on here. So this is actually a computer print. This is modeled inside of a computer. And you don't see it in here so much, but when I did the cardboard maquette or the work study, there are actually pieces of plywood in there that create this sort of frame. And I use the same plywood frame but scaled up to do these guys, except for the frame comes out.
Oh, wow.
I don't often work. This is actually the first time I have done a bronze maquette in the cardboard. A lot of times they're more exact. But lately in the last 5 years, the way that I work has gotten a lot more improvisational. And so really all that...
So it's very fluid then. I mean, you can kind of...
Yeah, and this is about basically getting that sense of the movement and the energy of the piece. And then when I actually go to build them, especially considering that the materials are quite different, then it becomes much more about kind of like getting that same directionality, but the way that the actual specifics of each strip are very different.
It's very intricate.
So the first permanent piece I ever built is on the W Hotel in San Francisco. It's right next to the Museum of Modern Art. And it's a huge reclining bronze nude that sits up on the kind of pediment frieze.
I've seen it, MoMA. I've seen it.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, and the thing about that is it's on a hotel. And so people inside of that hotel are sleeping and dreaming and doing all those sorts of things. And so the idea that I'm doing these things which they kind of take me outside of myself, which can be good, and make me consider really the people that are going to be encountering the work.
So it gives you a really good perspective.
It does. But I do something, and one of the things though that's unusual about my work within the context, particularly of having focused on public artwork, is that I always bring this particular style. So in a sense there's a challenge in that, but I also think that people appreciate the kind of they appreciate the detail. They appreciate the fact that it really registers as a work of art as opposed to a sign or something like that.
Well, I agree. And when I look at this piece, you can clearly see continuity. You can clearly see a flow, and it's almost, at one point I look at it, it's almost like kind of convoluted, but then when you get up close, it's calming. It all comes together, and it has a meaning, especially like you said, you go to the equestrian center, you see these horses, it's very appropriate, you know exactly that you're going to be dealing with horses.
Yeah,
and in a beautiful
also,
way.
And right now, while they're being fabricated, they're especially complicated. But once I take it outside and do a patina on it, these are going to have a really dark, almost a black patina.
Beautiful.
They'll read much more directly.
So if I say that it's controlled chaos, that's what comes to mind.
It
Controlled
is,
chaos.
I think it is.
And then clearly you bring it all together, adding that continuity.
It's kind of like order and chaos coming together. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Well, I mean, look. First, I didn't want to be a sculptor. I actually studied painting in college, and sculpture ended up being something that I found I had a facility for when I was in a professional environment.
Okay.
So when I was working doing props for movie shoots and stuff like that. And
You
it
just had an
really-
affinity for it, and
Yeah, I mean, it was just something that I could do. And then really it was the Mardi Gras experience where I started doing sculpture. It's kind of a practical thing. The only, somebody once, if you want to be an artist, don't get in a lot of debt. You know, I know going to a great art school is something that people dream about. If you're getting great scholarships and such, and you're very well motivated, then okay. But don't go and like take out the kind of loans that a lawyer is going to take out, because you're going to be crippled when you come out. You need to have your freedom. You need to be able to recognize that it's going to be a process of doing other people's work, doing a lot of compromising things. I mean, I haven't always worked as an artist. I've done tons of other things too to survive. And then you just got to be totally motivated. It's funny. I
So basically you're saying just do it. Just go out and do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you also though need to find a practical way to apply it. So for me, even, I got paid $7 an hour when I first started doing Mardi Gras work, but look what it turned into. So, you have to work really, really hard. There's so many super talented people out there.
Definitely have to have a real deep passion for it, right?
Yeah.
Well, clearly you do. And I have to say, it's wonderful meeting you, and I'm looking forward to sharing some of your other pieces. We'll throw in some photographs of your piece from Italy, and by the way, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
That's very exciting.
What is there's a couplet by Goethe, which is nothing that I'm known for, but which is that essentially the idea is that once you are committed, that things start to happen, and so essentially commit to something, commit to your passion or whatever it is that you're after, and then you will find that the universe or whatever starts to work for you.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, from Robin at everythingfallbrook.org, thank you so much and have a great day.
Thanks.